I don't for the life of me understand the Giant fans burning Saquon Barkley's jersey yesterday. I really don't. That guy begged to stay with the Giants. So in the NBA, when guys force their way out, I totally get it. When the fans in Cleveland were all over LeBron, when the fans in Denver were all over Carmelo Anthony, when the fans in Orlando were all over Dwight Howard, and whatever the more recent examples of that have been, they're not jumping immediately to mind. Then I get it. You deserted us. You are dead to me now. I get that. Kevin Durant, when he first went back to Oklahoma City. This was the opposite of that. Saquon Barkley begged to stay to the point that the Giants humiliated him. Humiliated him. He came back the year before when they gave him nothing to come back and play, and he did, and he gave you everything he had on a team that sucked. He single-handedly carried them to the playoffs the year before, and they paid the quarterback, because that's what they do in this league. The geniuses who run these franchises decide, I'm not going to pay the best player, the most important player, the most valuable player. I'm going to pay the quarterback. Because there's a pie chart somewhere, there's a graph, there's an Excel spreadsheet that says you can only pay this amount of money for a running back. Saquon Barkley is the most important player on the Eagles. Watch them play. He's by far their most important. A.J. Brown is awesome, Devontae Smith, Jalen Hurts, offensive line. Saquon Barkley is by far the best player on that team. And I got to tell you, I'm not a Giant fan, so I know a lot of the Giant fans are going to say, oh, you just worry about your own team. I don't care what you say. That was disgraceful. I'm not suggesting you need to root for him. I'm not suggesting that a smattering of boos because he's now on the most hated rival isn't appropriate. I get that. But you're burning Saquon Barkley's jersey? For what? The Giants begged him. They humiliated him. Humiliated him. And he went to the place that gave him the best offer, which is what everyone would have done. So here's what I will say. We ask the players to care about us as fans. We have to meet them halfway. Saquon Barkley is a human being, and you dehumanized him by burning his jersey yesterday and writing the F word in front of his name on top of your Barkley jersey and wearing that to the game yesterday because of something that you would absolutely have done yourself if you were to trade places with him. So I really thought that was I thought that was, if you did that yesterday, in my opinion, you don't get it. Does anyone here disagree with me? I mean, you and Cam Hembo represent the kind of, one of the more notorious fan bases, obviously, in sports. And I want to get into the Eagles side of this game. But what did you think of that?
So on Friday, I said on the show that no self-respecting Giants fan would go to that game and boo a lung out for Saquon Barkley with the context that you just laid out. My wife's a Giants fan, and can I be honest about something? I've slept on the couch the last 3 nights.
She booed Saquon Barkley?
Booed him.
She wanted him booed?
Badly.
Can we call her? What is the reason? Like, what does she boo him for?
Just because he went to Philly. It's that binary.
So here's the thing. That there's a distinction here. If you're saying he's on the Eagles now, so he's the enemy, so I'm going to boo, I'm okay with that. It was the burning of the jersey that really bothered me. When I saw that, we showed some of that video on Sunday Countdown, and we were almost at the very end of the show when we got it, so I didn't have time to do like any sort of commentary on it, which is why I want to do it now. Like, what are we doing here, people? So the next time, so the next time a player says, I want to be a member of this community, I want the fans to be on our side. The next time a fan says, I want the player to care about the community, I want him to care about, what did Saquon Barkley not do that you want him to do?
Win.
That Saquon Barkley is the least responsible person for the Giants' lack of winning of everyone in that organization.
I'm just expressing the opinions of my in-laws.
And the most responsible person for the reason they won a playoff game.
That's correct. Is that the only playoff game they've won since the Super Bowl?
Yes.
He's the only reason you were there and the reason you won. And by the way, Daniel Jones played that one great game, and it got him paid $80 million, and it got Saquon Barkley a one-way ticket to wherever it is he needed to wind up going, and so he went to the highest bidder. Man, I'm not good with that. I
agree with you, but this is now affecting my marriage.
This is one of those classic. I mean, I agree with you 100%. I would say, if anything, this is one of the classic examples of where you initially cheer his return when you first see him, and then maybe boo as the game goes on. Which I'd be okay with that, if anything. But just the fact that they were just immediately, I was literally like sitting at home, Googling stuff, looking stuff. Like, did I forget something? Did I miss? Did he say something? Because I'm like, what? Same with you. I don't understand. Like to me, it makes absolute. It seems like that would be the person when he comes back. You would just be cheering, be like, "Man, I can't believe we let him go because this guy was great."
I think the thing that he said was over and over, I want to be a Giant for life.
Yes.
And which is a great thing and should not be taken as a personal affront when he leaves. But when you hear that as a Giants fan, the entire time you're rooting for Saquon Barkley in a Giants jersey, all other context be damned, when he goes to the enemy, what a betrayal. Even though everything suggests that it was not his decision to leave the team. It was his decision to go to the Eagles once he left the team, and the team made it clear they didn't want him. But they hear Giant for life, then he's an Eagle, boo him, F Saquon, all that stuff, which makes no sense. You're a moron if you are, take a personal affront to Saquon going to the best bidder.
I mean, we don't even need to assume it. We saw it on Hard Knocks, right? I mean, we literally saw the conversation. We saw the owner say, I don't know that this is such a good idea. And the geniuses in charge of the decision saying, no, we got this. Chicago's beating it up. From what we hear, Philadelphia is not even really involved. And then yesterday, he ran it right down your freaking throats. He had 187 yards of offense, and it could have been more. And I can't believe they didn't let him score those touchdowns in that game.
Oh,
I cannot believe.
I was whining every time they lined up in tush-push formation. I wanted Barkley to have 4 touchdowns.
I mean,
and
you're
200
going to win that
yards
game
yesterday.
no matter what happens.
Yeah. Put him in the end
Let
zone.
him run that freaking ball in. I can't
Totally
believe
agree.
it. And so anyway, that was that side of it. Now let's look at the other side of that game. I can see one of two ways of looking at this as an Eagle fan, Hembo. A, you've just beaten the Browns and Giants, who, when all is said and done, might be the 2 worst teams, or right there with Carolina and New England, 2 of the really bad teams in the league. Or B, we've kind of figured something out here. Sirianni righted the ship. The team kind of seemed to rally around him, at least to some degree. Now, they may have rallied more around Saquon yesterday than they did around Sirianni. Who knows? But I guess what I'm trying to ask you, and I've taken too long to ask a very simple question. How good do you feel about this team coming off these back-to-back wins?
Considerably better. When you beat the Browns by 4 points, you're allowed to complain. But when you play a team as bad as the Giants and you beat them by 25 points and you do so by running it down their throat, sacking Daniel Jones 7 times, it's the second straight game your defense has not allowed a single touchdown. Who am I to sit here and complain? The Eagles are playing without their starting left tackle in that game. They still ran the ball like crazy. It's the second straight game in which Jalen Hurts did not turn the ball over. Saquon Barkley right now is the second best offensive player of the year odds. A.J. Brown's the best contested catch winner in the league. He's a great problem solver. This team is starting to sort of figure it out. Are they going to be as good as the Lions or the Packers, whom they be, by the way, or the Vikings or the Niners or whomever else by the season's end? I don't know. But going into this game, everyone told me that if they lost it, they were going to fire the coach. So if after beating them by 25 points, if I'm not allowed to be happy, there's no point of being a sports fan.
Are they going to be better than the Commanders is the question that really matters, Cam.
That is to be seen in 4 weeks when they play them. I think right now they are not better than them, but I think they have Bengals, Jaguars, and Cowboys. The formula they have established in the last, the entire season, but especially the last couple weeks, is if you can run it through Saquon, those are 3 teams you can certainly run through Saquon. They should be at least 6-3 or 7-2 after that game. Then they run into the Commanders, and maybe the mojo is going even more and things are clicking even more. Jalen Hurts is not turning the ball over in the last couple games, even though he still hasn't looked perfect. I would like his pocket presence to be a little better, but there are games on their schedule right in front of them that suggest that they should be pretty far ahead of every other team besides Washington in the division. So I feel pretty good and encouraged after the last couple weeks, even though it's been against bad teams.